This is my group practice learning activity, and this is the classroom I'm using. I'm using the almost complete but the corner cut off classroom to conduct a Jigsaw group practice learning activity. So what I wanted to do was have students learn and retell folk stories and short stories, folk tales. And this is California State Standard 2nd grade Reading Literature Standard 2. So what I have going on is I have 8 groups of 4 students each. I do have 2 table groups that are missing 1 student. I just don't have enough students to fill those seats. And this is going to be the blue group and the orange group. We also have purple, green, yellow, pink, red, and beige. And those will come into play as we create our expert and learning groups. So for Jigsaw, we start by learning our expertise in our expert groups. And what I'm going to be doing is using 4 folk tales for the students to learn and become experts in their expert groups. And then they're going to transfer into learning groups. And they're going to share the story that they learned with their learning group. So the expert groups are going to look like this. They are 2 table groups of 4 put together. So each expert group will have at least 7 students. I say 7 because one of the table groups may be missing a member, such as the blue group or the orange group. So there will be 8 students total in this one, 7 in this, 7 in this one, and 8 in this group. I made a little roster of our expert groups and who is studying what. So for our first story, Jack and the Beanstalk, we have all the students who are normally seated at the purple and beige tables. For Red Riding Hood, all the students that would normally sit at the green and blue tables. Rainbow Bird will consist of all the students that normally sit at yellow and orange tables. And Johnny Appleseed will have all the students that typically sit at pink and red tables. So this is just the regular room setup. The kids will not be moving to get into expert groups. They're just going to stay where they are. So 29, 30, 21, 27, they always sit there at purple, but they're going to be kind of reading the same story as beige. So that makes them an expert group. The students are going to need at least 2 copies of their story per table group, which means 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 total storybooks, but really just 4 types of each story. So 4 copies of Jack and the Beanstalk, for 2 of them here, 2 of them here. 4 copies of Red Riding Hood, 2 copies here, 2 copies here, and so on and so forth with the other stories. So when they're in their expert groups, students are also going to be given a sticky note with a number on it. So I'm just going to number off the kids 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth with each group. I won't get up to 4 at blue and orange tables, so they're just going to have 1, 2, 3 students each. So once the students have their books and they're sitting at their tables, they should already be sitting at their tables. They're going to read their stories, and this should take about 15 minutes. They have about 15 minutes to read their story and become experts at that story. Once those 15 minutes are up, I'm going to give them about 2 minutes to pick up their sticky note, and I'm going to have a code that I've written on the board, which will say all 1s, students with sticky note 1s, sit at either purple or beige tables. All students with 2s will sit at green or blue tables. Students with 3s will sit at yellow and orange, and students with 4s will sit at pink and red. So here's the learning groups. Once they have sat at those tables, they should have at least 1 expert in every story. I say at least 1 because every group has 2 except for the last group that sits at pink and red. They're only going to have 1 expert for Little Red Riding Hood and 1 expert for Rainbow Bird. So all the other groups will have 2 except for this one. They are only going to have 1 expert for these 2 stories. But the other 2 stories in that group do have 2 experts. So what this is going to look like is essentially, and I'm going to have them do this one by one, is I'm going to have all the students stand but not move, and then I'm going to have them all pick up their sticky note and bring it with them to either the purple or beige table, and I'll say all 1s, stand up, take your sticky note, and walk to the purple and beige table. So they're just going to be by either their seat that they will take or they can sit in it, considering that 2 of them will already be there. So these 2, who I believe 27 and 3, they were already assigned 1, but they were already sitting at purple and beige, so they don't have to move. So all these students are going to get up, they're going to move, and then one by one, all of them are going to move where they're standing. So all the 2s are going to make their way over here. All the 3s are going to make their way to the yellow and orange. And all the 4s are going to make their way to the pink and red. Okay. And then pink and red, like I said, are going to be missing 2 members. So 2 of these seats will be free, but that doesn't mean that they don't have an expert to discuss that story. They just will have not 2 students sharing Red Riding Hood and Rainbow Bird, but they will still be sharing their story. When the kids move, they won't need any further materials. They should not bring their books because the point of this activity is for them to retell the story. The total time for this, I'm expecting to be about half an hour, 15 minutes to read, about 2 minutes to move, and then 10 minutes to share in learning groups. So they're going to have 15 minutes in expert, 10 minutes in learning. So when you add that all up, it's roughly 27 minutes. So I'm going to say round it up to 30 minutes just because stuff happens in the classroom, and I'm sure I'll tack on a couple extra minutes in there. So this is my partner practice for the learning activity. I'm going to be doing inside-outside circles, and I'm using this half orange slice looking classroom. I'm pretty sure I've got all 8 objects. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all 8 objects present in the classroom, and I also have all 32 desks lined up. So what I wanted to do for inside-outside circles was a half modified version that was sort of seen on the teacher toolkit video with the French teacher. So what the teacher toolkit video showed me is that inside-outside circles can be modified as more of like a speed dating, conga line type project where students are in lines of desks facing each other. And so my classroom format is already set up where desks are going to be facing the front. So these students would just have to pull their chairs around instead of moving any desks and would face into this part. So all of these students have desks facing this way, and they would flip their chairs from, instead of looking forward, they would flip their chairs to the other side and look in this way, while these students don't have to move. These students are already sitting the right way. And then we have the dilemma of these 6 desks, which hold 10 students, because this one is empty. So I have 10 students at these desks. What I'm going to do with them so that they can participate in inside-outside circle, since they can't sit in these 20 desks, is I'm going to have them group up and move down to the reading rug, and they're going to do the traditional form of inside-outside circles on the reading rug. So for the first set of students, I have 20 students doing the modified version. Here's how that one is going to work. So I decided to use California State Standard 2 for reading, 2nd grade reading literature standard 1. Which is where students are to identify the who, what, where, when, why, and how of a story. So what we're going to do is we're going to have students ask each other with 6 different partners the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So to start off, we're going to do 15 and 25. I have them seated right here. They're going to be partners who discuss who are the characters in the story. I'm going to let a minute 30 go by, and once they're done discussing that, 15 is now going to get up and move to where 25 was. 25 is going to move where 11 was. 11 moves over to 10's desk. 10 moves to 13, and so on and so forth. Once they're done moving, I'm going to put another minute 30 timer on, and now 15 and 18 are going to discuss the what of the story, what happened. Another minute 30 goes by. Everybody moves over to their right one more time, and the next question will be where. They get a minute 30 to discuss that. Move, ask when, move, ask why, and move, ask how. And then after they're done asking how, that should be the end of the discussion. Each student should have moved to their right 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because their first seat is the first question. So they're going to move 5 more times to answer the last 5 questions. So 15 is now going to be seated where 21 is, and everybody else is going to be 5 seats over as well. So that's for the modified inside-outside circle. For the traditional inside-outside circle, like I said, I have these 10 students who are going to be on the reading rug, and I drew it out a little bit better on the back. Sorry, it's so tiny. So I have 19, 22, 29, 9, 14, 12, 5, 27, 17, and 30 who were all on those outside desks. They're going to come to the reading rug, and 5 of them are going to be the inside circle. 5 of them are going to be the outside circle. So I chose 5, 27, 17, 30, and 12 to be the inside circle. They stand in a circle on the reading rug facing out. They are the inside circle. They will not move the entire time of this project, but they will be standing. So the remaining students, 22, 19, 14, 9, and 29, are going to be the outside circle. They're facing in, and they're all going to start with their partners, and at the same time, the whole class is going to be on the same minute 30 timer. Once these students are situated down here on the reading rug, we're going to all first wait for them to make their way down before we start this project, because we're all using the same timer, so I need them all at the same pace. Once they're set up in their inside-outside circle format, I'm going to set a timer for a minute 30, and they're going to discuss who are the main characters. So 22 and 5 are discussing who, 29 and 12 are discussing who, and so on and so forth. Minute 30 goes by, and 22, 29, 9, 14, and 19 all move 1 space to their right. 12, 5, 27, 17, and 30 are not moving. Just these 5. So now, 22 is over here, 29 is over here, 9 is here. So now 9 is working with 17, 14 and 27 are working together, 19 and 5 are working together, and they're all going to discuss what for a minute 30. I let the timer go by, and then the students on the outside move another to their right. So the only thing about this one is that these students are going to end up doing one partner twice. So their first question and their last question are going to be the same partners. So 19 and 5 are both going to ask at the very beginning who are the main characters, and once they've gone fully around the circle, the last question they're going to be discussing is how, and they're going to be discussing that together because it means they went full circle. Okay. So, and after that one, obviously they would go back to their desks and we can discuss as a class. But for now, I just wanted to show you how they move throughout the classroom, that there's 2 types of inside circles going on, but both are the same method. They're the same type of learning activity. Students are going to need a half paper and pencil for this activity. And I kind of did a mock-up of what they might need. So just a half piece of paper where they can write who, what, where, when, why, and how. And as they discuss with their partners, they can write it out. I gave this activity about 10 minutes to finish, considering that each minute has about a minute 30 to answer. And we're doing 6 questions, so I'm going to say that's 9 minutes plus 1 more minute for all the movement for around the classroom. So this would be about a 10-minute activity.